Hey everybody, NFT fans, welcome back to the NIFTSY podcast. I'm your host, Eugene, aka Crypto MC, and I'm here today with, this guy is renowned, J.D.Salbego, the founder and CEO of AnRKeY X. I personally call him the ultimate marketing gentleman. So he does it magnificently. I pretty extremely love it. So JD, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for that wonderful intro. You should have been a game show host in Hollywood, man.
Oh, okay,
Quite
okay.
good.
I
Hmm.
I had media advice. Okay, the second
Yeah.
father. So I would love to start with your personal story in crypto. How did you get into the blockchain space?
I was born and raised in LA, and I went into the music entertainment business very early at 17, on the tech side, and then on the entrepreneur side at a record label. And the first time I read the white paper was, I think, 2011 for Bitcoin. I was just like completely obsessed with it. But I had a career that I was very happy with, and whatever. And I just kept following it and staying in the little channels and Reddit and other things, and just following the progression. Invested a little bit, and then by the time 2014, 15 hit, I was really starting to foam at the mouth, basically, to get in, and I started climbing down the rabbit hole more. More projects were launching. The ICO boom kind of not the boom, but people started actually raising funds through the ICOs. I found that really interesting, especially from a democratic way to raise money, not going through the normal private equity markets, which can face a lot of challenges, right? And there's a lot of like barriers of entry in America for that stuff. You know what I mean? I basically just fell in love and went into it around 2015 and a half, 16. Yeah, I left the music entertainment business and went straight head in. And I landed with my background of, technology, but also fundraising, go-to-market strategy, and promotion. I landed straight into investment banking
Yeah.
and did for digital assets and crypto, funny enough. And I was just a few phone calls, and it landed me in Asia, and I became one of, a top like ICO advisor. And I broke a lot of, pretty big ICOs and helped companies from the US and everyone else expand across globally, stuff like that. And then becoming the face of a lot of those companies as an executive. A lot of times they would hire me after I was advising. I would speak at conferences, and that kind of just, organically, I kind of became an influencer for a while. Not so much anymore. All I'm focused on is AnRKeYX, and obviously I interview, but I don't care about being an influencer or anything. But that happened for a while, which was fun, and I pretty much have lived on a plane for the past, God, almost 6 years now, and I'm excited. And AnRKeY, I launched, last October officially out of stealth, but it's been a year now, and it went really fast. I'm in shock. It's been a year already, with this company.
Since I first got the contact with you on LinkedIn, I have dreamt for asking you, how do you do this marketing? You are excellent, amazing, fantastic, fascinating. Who are your coaches? Are you coaching with Tony Robbins or what?
You said Tony Robbins. It broke up. Is that what you said, Tony
Yeah,
Robbins?
yes, Tony Robbins. Yeah.
That's funny. No, no, I'm not. But well, we can go. That's a whole nother subject. I actually like Tony Robbins. I'm never into that kind of self-help stuff. I'm very spiritual. I read a lot of, I'm really big into Carl Jung with synchronicity and Deepak Chopra and stuff. But, a friend of mine, an older mentor of mine, actually got me involved or reading actually Tony Robbins 6 months ago. And I gotta say, man, the guy is a smart guy, and he brings a lot of good principles. But to digress, sorry, man, I just, we learn from the best, I think, in Hollywood. I grew up around some of the most, basically, if you look at it, the music business is the one who created the whole guerrilla marketing, literally, that we use in crypto. The guerrilla marketing tactics, that are used in crypto to grow communities. The music business invented that back in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, but manual, in person, right? Street teams, recruiting, like, there's all sorts of things of seeding projects and seeding bands. So I grew up with a lot of, and worked with really genius marketing people around me. You know what I mean?
Please name that. Who are they? Who are these guys? And what do book about marketing to you, your personal?
Well, I'm talking about just I had a record label, right, with Warner Music Group, but I also had a publishing company with another one of the top independent publishers, in the industry. So I'm not saying I worked under. I was never a dedicated marketing guy. I don't think I've ever had a role that
Right.
like a marketing. Hey, I'm the marketing guy. In my life, I'm just a startup, an entrepreneur, a product guy who's had his own companies, worked for companies, and I know how to market because I've done it so many times. But I'm not like that's not all I do. You know what I mean? Don't put me in a box, bro. Don't put me in a box. I'm just joking.
Okay.
But no, I mean like if you look at what Nine Inch Nails did, I don't know if you know what Nine Inch Nails is. From the industrial age right through to Trent Reznor, that guy's genius. If you look at how you seed out communities, he used to drop flash drives at concert. He would put a flash drive in the toilet area in the stall that would have secret files on there, and people would find them, his fans, and it would send them on all these wild goose chase. I mean, he would do all sorts of things like that. So look, I study a lot. I read. I know about entertainment, virality, a lot of digital content, right? Things like that. So
The most renowned marketing guys from US in my country right now, I'm Eastern Europe. They are Dan Kennedy and Jay Abraham. You know these guys. Do you think?
yeah,
Do you agree? Are they really super cool marketing guys from US?
yeah, no, they're great for sure, for sure. We, yeah, I mean, I was the first guy marketing all this stuff with this company, that I founded. I was literally one of the key marketing people and the CEO and founder for a while. But I built a really great team, of not only in-house, creators, content creators, but game designers too, that helped. And a lot of our game devs and C-suite management on our team have worked with Pokemon and Final Fantasy and Sega, and I can keep going down the list. So as you could tell, look at my background, right? And just all our designs were very, we're very kind of cutting edge, commercial, very high quality. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Tell us, please, how do you and your team, of course, how do you have built, are changing the world right now in the AnRKeYX company?
Well, we're definitely not solving hunger, and we're not doing universal income or healthcare. So outside of those enormous things of changing the world, we are, I think, doing some very impactful stuff. We're definitely on the fringe and pushing the boundaries. I think probably more than most companies are within this whole, gaming, blockchain gaming, DeFi gaming, NFTs. We definitely are, we're doing similar stuff, but we have definitely pushed on the fringe, man, with this, the true gamification of DeFi that we actually do. We've truly gamified liquidity binding. I mean? We don't actually just, blockchain gaming where you mint something or you birth something or you battle something and you get a little airdrop and then you call that DeFi. We actually truly gamified financial products, and we're the first social gaming network as well. So the first game that we launched utilizes competitive esports liquidity mining. It's bizarre, man, but it works and people love it. We just launched a few weeks ago a limited release. I don't know what the TVL is. I mean, but we're over over 1 million in TVL already from some of the users on this limited release. We've generated probably, which is crazy to say, like 80,000 APY throughout the game on this limited release. I mean,
80,000.
80,000 APY.
Oh,
It's gamified, right? It's gamified.
right.
So these are all the users playing. It's the total aggregate, volume of APY being distributed per each user within the teams and then the total teams. And that's how you win through series of, battling, collecting, staking NFTs, and then a few other different very fun in-game actions. So
Oh,
I mean, really, in a nutshell, we're a technology-focused company at first. So we've been developing for the past 8 months the technology. Our game is, we're not just a game or a game studio. We're actually a platform protocol. That 60% is built already. So we have a DeFi gaming DApp and gaming NFT developer engine that'll be launching at the end of the year. So that's what hosts our games as well. So
yeah.
we have a lot of solutions and tools, and it started with our games. So DeFi coded, Pokemon inspired cards, where gaming attributes and power rarity scores are coded with DeFi yield metrics and stuff like that, and a lot of other cool stuff. Excuse the noise. I'm in a hotel. Sounds like something
No
happening
problem. No.
outside.
I'm super curious. The name of the company, AnRKeYX, it sounds complicated. It has been writing complicated. What's the story of the name? How did you name the company AnRKeYX? What does it mean?
There's actually a story behind it. I'm very passionate about this company. You know what I mean? So, Bitcoin, Satoshi, right, and whoever that was or they were at their core, they were anarchists, and they launched a digital rebellion. And anarchy, not over the years has been associated with violence. But if you look at it from a philosophical standpoint, when it was actually created, it's about self-organization, right? And stuff like that. And they launched a digital rebellion. The first Bitcoin adopters were anarchists. So this company was based on the foundation of free democracy and the principles of anarchy. The reason why I changed the spelling from not the normal way with anarchy with a CH to KEY, because guess what? Decentralized finance, your keys, right? It's your freedom, your future you hold. So it's very symbolic. I mean, I have a whole mission statement that basically sums that up,
Super good. So AnRKeYX means anarchy. Now, I'm an economist. I'm a fan of Austrian economics, and the Mises Institute in Auburn, Alabama, the biggest think tank in tomorrow's world, in today's world. And you maybe the guy named Jeff Vervik, Anarchipulco. He's at the house of anarchist, and so on and so forth. So, do you consider yourself as an anarchist, right?
I wouldn't totally go that far, but I definitely have I definitely believe in a lot of those principles. Self-governed nations. I do believe in democracy. But I do believe that there are, some, to a certain degree, regulatory bodies can be very beneficial because, if you've looked at human species since the dawn of time, we're all animals, man, and we're actually quite extremely worse and more destructive and predatory and murderous than animals are. So I not to get all out there, but whether you're religious or not, there's been certain benefits of religion outside of that. Many people have died because of religion, but the certain benefits that religion have given society is morals and codes for living, because human beings are pretty crazy. So I wouldn't think the world could survive with anarchy because there's too many nutsos out there. You know what I mean? I mean, just look at crypto itself. We can't even self-govern our own industry. We keep having problems from outside regulatory environments because there's too many scammers. Look what happened in the ICO boom. So that's always going to happen. So anyways, that's my long story, my long answer to your one little short question.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
I love how you do that. You are extremely, not necessarily marketing guy, you're ideologically correct guy. That's
I read a lot. I don't do much else. I work and read.
What are favorite books? What books do you read? What books do you recommend to read for a deep dive into your philosophy, to understand you better? What books should we read to understand better the J.D.Salbego?
So I would first, it's two books that have changed my life. One was The River Out of Eden by Richard Dawkins. So about DNA. And that really changed my life and very fascinating, and how I started relating principles to the next wave of innovation that we're in right now with blockchain, and how blockchain, as you know, with human beings, all we're doing it with computers and technologies, recreating human species, right, and functions of our brain. That's all we're doing. And I believe that blockchain is the beginning of us creating principles and functions of what DNA does, because blockchain technology and DNA have very similar structures. They're distributed networks with codes and informations and self-actualizing and executing contracts within them, just like DNA and blockchain. So that book changed my life a lot, and I continually read a lot of his and other stuff on DNA. And then Deepak Chopra's Synchro Destiny completely changed my life. I've read it 3 times. If you're into like Carl Jung and stuff like that, and synchronicity, there's a lot of very interesting things that I'm a firm believer in that boils down to with quantum physics, and stuff like that, particle entanglement and things like that, and all that fun stuff.
Quantum physics, super. I love to talk to you. Really, really. That's the topic of another talking. So don't forget to for our general topic. I was talking the NFT. How did you first get your first exposure with NFTs? How do you explain what the hell is NFT and how NFTs are being utilized in the AnRKeYX products? Explain us, please.
Yeah, I mean, the first, first thing I noticed about NFTs was when I started hearing that, CryptoKitties buzzing around, and I thought they were really cool. I think the technology was genius. When you explain an NFT, what is an NFT? Well, it's a contract that has a unique code that can make an asset, completely unique and transferable, showing ownership that's transparent, yada, yada, yada. And at the time, the technology wasn't scalable enough. I really wanted to get into blockchain gaming back then. Even when I was just doing tons of, advising with projects and ICOs and stuff, but the technology wasn't there for scalability and it felt limited. I was just like, it didn't feel like the right time. Now it did, which is why I got into this last year and really felt passionate. I mean, there was a few other things that happened that drove me into it. But, how I explain it to people in layman's terms, I say, every Bitcoin is alike, every Ethereum coin is alike. That is a fungible token, a unique asset. They utilize non-fungible tokens, which means there's a unique code, and there's not one of those contracts alike, on the network. They have many other functions other than just art, or gaming or anything like that. All it does is create a unique asset that can be documented, transferred, and utilized or recognized as safekeeping and unique, right? And it's immutable. So there's going to be many uses for these. Even when you think of like when the whole world finally switches to Web3 in 10, 20 years, I always bring this as a key example, how are law firms, right, going to throw their legal documents on blockchain? Well, guess what they're going to use for all the different drafts of a legal agreement? They're going to use NFTs. So each draft, with the child NFT and the parent NFT, it's going to be tied to the parent one. There's going to be all the different drafts of it, all unique. The same thing with data, hospitals. Those are all the different ways. It just was easy to launch with art, right? Right. It was easy as the first thing, and then for blockchain, gaming was one of the first use cases, even before blockchain was a thing, when it was just cryptography. Back in early 2000s. So
you've mentioned the art. I'm curious, why did we face NFT hype in the digital art space, specifically NFT? And was it similar or differ, how do you see, comparing with the ICO hype of 2017?
Yeah, there's a little bit of a hype, that is for sure. Guaranteed there was a bunch of hype there. I think, what happened was, some stuff just went viral. Look, the technology, just like with ICOs, just with blockchain allows this frictionless peer-to-peer transactions to happen. So what that does is make assets that weren't liquid before liquid. It's doing that with digital securities. It did that with payments. It's doing that with anything it touches. Direct peer-to-peer self-executing contracts, right? So what that did was allow people to put these things up, and then it just all of a sudden people started buying some stuff, and it kind of just went viral with the art thing. I was too busy working on my company to realize what triggered that first viral push. Obviously you saw Flow coming early out, right, with the NBA Top Shops, but that's not art, right? And and our whole thing with our company is a base value as some of our key technology. We have a proprietary derived base value engine that bases the pricing of all of our NFTs, our gaming assets, off user and community input, the value of it, right? So we actually try to derive a base value. Flow, the NBA Top Shops, there is a base value because the brand is established. All these art things, man, there's nothing. You put it up for $1 billion. Look at Beeple, 68 million. It's basically whoever wants to buy something at that price. But as we saw, that's why we have these big booms and ups and downs. The market is all dynamic the whole time. There's no sustainability with it, right?
Explain us, please, in simple terms for newcomers, for guys who don't know anything about why NFTs are so popular in gaming and metaverse, and how NFTs been changing gaming experience for us?
Well, they allow ownership of assets. So for years and years in the beginning, for gaming companies, they just literally rent their assets. So users think they own them, right? Gamers, but they really don't. They're just renting them in these centralized games, and all of the gaming companies are just siphoning money. So the beauty of the NFT is for the gaming assets, right? And that's $160 billion last year. 85% of that revenue globally was game assets, in-game asset purchases. That is the majority of the revenue being generated by gaming now, because it's all free to play. So the benefits of non-fungible technology within gaming, metaverse, everything is the ownership of the asset, the transfer of the value, and then the utility that you could code into the NFT, a purpose, a utility, and a value. You could code that and then have those executed by smart contracts, right? So we're a very big utility based, gaming company. All our NFTs are full of utilities based upon their power rarity score. Some of them derive yield, some will unlock access, some will deliver our in-game currency, which is our Oracle shards. It's not a token, blockchain token, but it's an in-game currency, and all those are the benefits of non-fungible tokens. You can code in contracts and things that will execute and create other transactional things and deliver information.
Well, thank you. That's a brilliant explanation. And the NFT segment is quite young. It's been existing for 3 or 4 years, started with CryptoKitties. How will you describe the main problems, challenges, pains, diseases for NFT markets and market participants?
I think some of the challenges right now is going to be, we're big on interoperability. So that's some of our big stuff we're working on. So I think there's still some hurdles with interoperability between chains and ecosystems. We're working on some a technology that makes at least DeFi focused NFTs, at least with the DeFi part of it, interoperable between platforms. I still think there's a lot of just kind of crap being thrown out in the market as well. So I think it's going to be mature. It's going to mature more within the industry. I think that's what we're really looking for now, and to get over this hype and start, really seeing what is the economics behind these industries and who's going to last and who's going to not last and what's a good it's basically what happened during the ICO boom, the same exact thing. So right now we have a big rush. Everyone's throwing money in. Everyone's coming up with ideas. Now there's a billion play to earn companies in games, and there's a billion NFT platforms, and now it's going to see who's going to be the real ones to last and who's not. So
speaking of NFTs, we cannot skip the legal issues which have arisen with growing NFT segment. They need to be solved. How do you see these major legal issues? And I'm super curious. Do you think, or maybe do you have any answer? Are the governments, especially in the US and big countries like Russia, China, and so on and so forth, tending to create a specific regulatory frameworks for NFTs apart from other classes of the general virtual assets? Give us your opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it's just anytime, there's two factors. There is some truth to that, but most of it, to my opinions, it's BS. I mean, anytime the governments aren't getting their fair share, they're going to come after you. That's what Uncle Sam does. That's the bottom line. Yeah, granted, I guess you could launder money through NFTs, right? Because you could pay for something without any kind of identity attached to it. But I mean, that's what they're bitching at, right? I mean, they're gonna. It's just, yeah. I'm not a big firm believer in that, at all. And I could tell them, I could tell you this straight up: anyone's gonna throw KYC on a game that every user has to put KYC. It ain't gonna happen. Users don't want that. They don't want to have that friction. It's going to be a big party killer. Let's just say that. It's going to be no beer, no fun toys and things at the party. No one's going to come. You're going to party all by yourself.
Okay. Are you satisfied personally with the technical infrastructure for NFTs? I mean, blockchains, wallets for keeping and showing and transferring these marketplaces and so on, or it's still in is baby stage and is still being developed?
A lot being developed. I mean, we face challenges every day. I mean, I have like 8 different devs at our company, and we're, every day there's something new, some new challenge, right? So there's still a lot of things to be worked out. There's speed. There's the display aspects of the NFTs, which is still really poor. There's still, moving people onto layer 2, then getting people who can also move on to other chains. This whole getting a dual or multiple party ownership of a wallet, it would be really beneficial. People are still working on that. We would love to do it. We don't have time. That's a really big one that we would love to be able to have, is having like a multiple ownership, right? Like almost look at it like a WordPress site, right? You're the owner of your WordPress. You give your SEO guy one level of access. You give your team one level of access, right? You have all these different things. That's where we really need to get to have a better expansion. But there's a lot of work. There's a bunch of other issues. It's okay now. It's working, but there's still a lot of challenges. You know what I mean? A lot.
I guess you've been observing a lot of people in different parts of the world, in the US, Europe, and so on, for in Asia. Do you see any difference in perception of NFTs? Let's say, how do Americans understand what
the whole world's going crazy right now. The whole world. The whole world.
All the world.
Yeah.
So the perception is equal.
For what I don't follow every territory, but we have users across most of the territories, with key ones in certain parts of Asia, certain parts of Europe, and the Middle East, and stuff, and also in the US and stuff. And yeah, it's
definitely
it's NFT mania right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we are in the frontier, like Europeans 500 years ago were exploring the frontier of US. We are exploring the frontier of crypto. So if you are searching for the lifetime frontier, pay attention on crypto. So JD, how do you see the possible use cases of NFT in the future? What purposes they will likely be used for in our lifetime?
Well, I think the easiest one we're seeing right now is gaming, and it's always been gaming. And obviously the collectible and maybe celebrity branded, or established branded NFTs purely for art or collectible. But these are the first use case that I believe will, and we're already seeing it, will hit mass adoption. Gaming is the fastest way to accumulate users to participate and utilize the benefits of blockchain without even knowing that they're using it. That's where we're happening right now. And down the future, there's going to be a lot of expanded ways. As I just mentioned my example about a law firm, right? Utilizing it for data and keeping unique records. So there's many ways to do that. There's lending assets. People are even talking about doing it with, mortgages on houses and the equity, and you could tokenize it. There's fractional tokenization. There are so many use cases. Basically, anything that you want to store, protect, and transfer safely across the internet, right, or Web3, that has to be unique, is going to need a non-fungible token technology. Bottom line, because the reason, as we all, well, some of us know, Web2, current interweb, as I like to say, genius, incredible, but it never solved one big thing: to transfer value, right? So that's what blockchain technology does.
Definitely, totally agree. For the newcomers who are not dealing yet with NFT, what first baby steps towards NFT would you suggest?
I would go to www.battlewave2323.com and push play. And play our social DeFi game right now. You're gonna have the most fun you can. You're gonna be playing with a wild and crazy social community. It's very competitive on different teams, and you can earn money while having fun in our games. That should be your first entry point into NFTs.
Super excellent answer. Ladies and gentlemen, link is written down below. Just do like JD said. How do you see, JD, the future of NFTs, let's say in 3 years? What should we see?
Man, I don't know. That's a lot. You're just gonna see it everywhere. Everywhere. In 3 years, yeah. Because there's a lot of social platforms coming out now, right, for influencers. So there's gonna be influencers able to launch their own NFTs, directly off of their own social platforms. You're gonna have the game companies like us. You're gonna have the NFT. I mean, it's gonna be a lot, man. It's Coca-Cola. Did they already launch their NFT like a few weeks ago? I don't even know, but like, yeah, lots happening. I don't really know, but it's gonna be fun.
All right. And finally, JD, what is the best way to follow you on the internet? Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and so on and so forth, and especially where to meet you? Are you going to speak somewhere in upcoming events, especially maybe on CGC or Cutting Edge Game Conference, which is upcoming in September? You have been a extremely lovely speaker there.
Well, that sounds good. I hope to speak at that one again like I did on the last one. And yeah, you could follow me at Twitter at J.D.Salbego. You could follow our company, AnRKeY X, at Twitter, which is, AnRKeY X. And just go to my website, which is jdsalbego.com or anarchyx.io. And those are the easiest way to find us.
Super. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the NIFTSY podcast. It's supported by NIFTSY Protocol. J.D.Salbego from AnRKeY X, Anarchy. Now I do understand what does it mean. If you are an anarchist, you should follow AnRKeYX. And JD, thank you very much. It has been a fascinating talk, super educational, amazing, extremely amazing talk for me. Please listen, like, share, comment, subscribe on the channel, and hit the bell button for not missing the future episodes. We're publishing daily, and don't forget to meet JD at the upcoming CGC or Cutting Edge Game Conference, supported by the brilliant Andrew Sharonevich and his Ukrainian team. I will be moderating a couple of fireside chats there. Possibly will be meeting with JD. So thank you very much. Thank you for watching. J.D.Salbego and Eugene aka Crypto MC. Where with you? Thank you for listening, and see you in the next episodes of the NIFTSY podcast. Bye-bye.